In my experience, air conditioners use a ton of power, but this little portable air conditioning and heating unit from Cybertake claims that it can cool down or heat up campers, tents, and small spaces while using dramatically less energy. And because it uses less energy, I'm hoping that we can realistically power it off of something like a portable power station. So we're going to test it properly. So today we're testing the Cybertake S2 Pro air conditioner and heating unit in real-world situations. I've lined up some tests: camper cooling, tent cooling, and off-grid battery-powered operation, because I want to know whether it's effective enough for off-grid use. Welcome back to DONSLIFE and welcome to the channel. Cybertake partnered with me and sent over their S2 Pro portable air conditioner. It's also a portable heater, but because of the weather we're enjoying right now, it's quite hot, we're just going to focus on the cooling features. And of course, I'm going to share with you all the important specs, but more importantly, I want to show you all of the important specs in action. Like, can this really cool down a room in my camper that's been literally baking outside in the hot sun all day? Or could it cool down a tent that's also been sitting outside under the hot sun? And can it do these things realistically using the power of a portable power station so you could be truly off-grid? So let me show you everything that we'll be working with. As you can see from the unboxing, we have the air conditioning and heating unit itself. We have the vent adapters for the front and the back of the unit, depending on how it's going to be used. We also have the vents. These are adjustable and expandable. You'll see that a little later. We have two drain hoses to get rid of the moisture and keep it out of the unit. We have the user manual. We have a remote control and its manual. We have the AC power adapter. And we also have some bags to carry absolutely everything, so you can take it all in a true portable fashion. So the first thing you're going to notice is the size and the weight. Just pulling it out of the box using the carry handle, it's only 25 pounds, and it has a good balance to it, a good feel. It's not too taxing. And that's a pleasant surprise because I've handled lots of portable air conditioners in the past, and this was nice. Now at face value, most people are going to think that the Cybertake S2 Pro is just a portable air conditioner, but it's really designed as an all-in-one climate control solution. And because of its portability, you're not locked into a permanent installation. You can really take it anywhere. I could use it in my workout area. I could use it in the garage, the camper, the tent, a shed, anywhere that we need climate control. It can cool, heat, dehumidify, and act as a fan. It's really quite versatile for year-round use. It's also surprisingly quiet, which is a big plus. Let's take a look at the functions and the controls, but first we got to plug it in. Man, the fit and finish of this is just so nice, well built. So we'll plug in our AC adapter. We need to plug it into a power source. I'll use my portable power station. Initially, when you turn it on, it's going to be blowing air, probably in the cool setting. So I'm just going to walk you through the different settings, what this panel does, what the remote does, and what the app does, which really are all the same things. So to turn it on, hold down the power button. Takes a couple seconds. It comes alive. I'm going to work in reverse order here. This button here is for your eco mode. Just means it's consuming less energy. So right now I am in auto. Press it again, I'm in eco, and then you can adjust different things. So we can adjust here the fan speed, and we can adjust the temperature setting. It goes down to 16, I think up to 32. This next button here is your mode setting. So right now this is dehumidify, so it's going to take moisture out of the air. The next one is just fan, so it's not cooling or heating. And the next one is heating. So on the front here you can see that the LED lit up red. If I go back to cooling, it's blue. So that tells you if it's hot or it's cold. The middle button we talked about, which is power. Over here is your timer button. So I can have it shut off in half-hour increments. So 30 minutes from now, 1 hour from now, all the way up to 12 hours. The next button here is your max button for either max cooling or heating. And all it's going to do is run everything at full blast to maximize your cooling or heating in as little time as possible, but it's also going to use the most amount of power. Now what I love about this remote is it has a thermometer built in and a hydrometer, so we can tell the heat and the ambient temperature of the room, and we know the humidity and then what the current temperature setting is at. So I can turn down the fan from here. So now it corresponds to what's on the remote. I can turn down the temperature setting from here so it corresponds, and I can even turn it off from here. Now it just takes a couple seconds to kind of flush out the system, keep it dry so we don't build up mildew or anything like that, and then it's going to shut off automatically in a moment. And we can even control it with the app. We can turn on the lights, so that'll turn off the panel as well as the LED here, because maybe you're sleeping at night and you don't want that light to bother you. And we can adjust all the modes. Everything you could do with the remote, you can also do on the app or on the panel. It's nice to have the options because this unit may not be sitting in the room with you. You might not have the space. You might want it outside of your tent, outside of your camper, and then venting the cold air or the hot air in. So I hope that kind of lands the point that this is an all-in-one climate solution, because we can use it not just in the summer months, we can use it in the cooler months as well. So I kind of touched on the dehumidifier aspects. We need to be able to drain moisture. So whether it's in air conditioning mode or the dehumidifier, it's going to pull moisture out of the air. So to drain it, turn it around so you can see the access points here, and you just pull off these little covers, and they provide you with these drain hoses. And they're just, you know, rubber hoses, so they go on quite easily. And then you'll just put the other end into a catch basin, like a bucket or a container, and then just hook up the other one. And that's all you have to do to hook up your drain hoses. And while we're back here, because this is pulling in and exhausting air, you have a removable panel. So you can clean this screen because it's going to pick up lint and dirt, maybe insects. This will help keep the insides nice and clean. And of course, they also have it on the other side. Easy peasy. And for your vent adapters, equally easy. They'll only fit on one side, the side they're intended for. So there's little claws here. They go in the bottom, clips into place. Now you don't have to use both at the same time. I'm just showing you how to connect them. Now, depending on what you're doing, if you're heating or cooling, if you're drawing air from the inside, expelling it outside, or vice versa, it's going to determine where these hoses go. How they connect is the same, whether it be on the front or the back. You just twist. One's a little larger than the other. So now they're connected, and really this is like a heat pump. So air goes in and out on one side and air goes in and out on the other side. And then what might surprise you is just how easy these can bend and manipulate to where you need them. So if I have a window up here, I can vent like that, and look, it kind of stays on its own. And for my camper demonstration, I actually made a cutout that will fit my window. So when we go to do that demonstration, I can show you exactly how this is going to work. And having this cutout and have it vent properly is going to make the most efficient demonstration possible. Cybertake claims that in Eco Plus sleep mode, that the S2 Pro consumes about 1 kilowatt hour over an 8-hour period. And that's good to know, because if we're cooling an area of the camper overnight, that cooling, that work, is where most battery-powered setups fall short. So that means that my 2 kilowatt hour portable power station conceivably could run this overnight, keeping the area that I sleep nice and cool, because it's made for smaller areas. It's not made for a full 34-foot camper or a full garage. We got to use it for its purpose. But I would have power to spare the next day to do those daily activities like make coffee, all off grid, and then I can still charge it with solar power, still have this running in the background, offset my energy use just right, that I'm building up a full charge with my portable power station and having all of that work off grid. At least that's the idea. The S2 Pro delivers 5100 BTU of cooling and 6100 BTU of heating. In practical terms, it's designed for smaller spaces, like campers and tents, giving you all-season cooling and heating in one portable unit. So I think now we should move on to our first test. Welcome to the inside of my camper, my trailer. Specifically, this is the bedroom. We have a window here that I just put this plate that I made so we could allow ducting for the air conditioning. So it's all going to be circulated through here, and the cool air is going to be pumped out. Now, because I can close this sliding door, we can essentially seal this room up so we have kind of a smaller living area, if you will, or sleeping area, because the test I want to do involves my power station. So we have this hooked up to the power station like we did in the garage. You can see that's what it's hooked up to. We're going to turn it on to max cooling shortly, and then we'll leave this room for maybe about half an hour and see what we can get the temperature down to. But if you look at it right now, it is a balmy 33.2 degrees Celsius and 31% relative humidity. To keep this test fair, I'm going to put the GoPro on time lapse. So we'll definitely record that session, but I think we should leave it for about half an hour. So let's turn this all on and then we will let the timer begin. I got the time lapse going. It's got a good clear view, 33.1 it says right now. This has 98% battery life. We're just doing a half-hour test on max. So you know what, let's use the remote. We have the technology. Let's turn this on. Sometimes it takes a couple pushes just to wake it up maybe. There we go. And it is on max already. So it should start pumping here right away. It's on cooling. Right now the time is 4:30, so perfect. Let's come back at 5 o'clock. It's a pretty quiet machine. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is starting to rev up quite a bit compared to when I first turned it on. But that's okay. We'll come back and check on it later. Okay, we're at 4:59, close enough to half an hour. Let's see what the progress looks like, because I also brought a thermal imager here. Well, it is noticeably cooler in here. You can see my power station staying pretty cool. The GoPro's toasty though. And then over here, you can see the internals of the air conditioner. There's a lot of heat at the back end and cold at the front. And at the front, we're pumping around that 16-degree mark, which is what we have it set at. And you can see the hoses here are pretty warm. Intake, exhaust, 55 degrees, bringing in almost 40-degree air. It's pretty warm. But we are down to 27 degrees in a half an hour. So you're probably curious what our energy use has been so far. So if we take a closer look at the power station, we are at 87% with 3.2 hours left of runtime. We're pulling 491 watts on max. But I'm gonna let this run another 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, just to see where we're at. And then I'll fill you in with what that looks like. Okay, we're at 5:23. I think that's close enough. Let's see if there's been a change. Feels more comfortable in here. We are at 25 degrees on the nose. We are at 78 or 2.9 hours. That's on max. Let's put this on eco. Let it just calm down a little bit there. Perhaps the mic's picking that up. But yeah, you can see on eco mode, we have low 200 watt range. So that's nice. That would give us 4.7 hours. Oh, now we're at 6.6 because it dropped down to 178. So, you know, that could conceivably get us through the night, because it wouldn't be working very hard if the temperature dropped anywhere close to 16 degrees. And 16 degrees is pretty cold. If we wanted to sleep when it was, say, 19 degrees, it wouldn't have to work as hard. Yeah, we just dropped down to 150, and that's 7.8 hours. So you can see the relationship there with temperature, how hard it works, and the energy consumption. And as for heat, you can read right there, we're taking in some pretty warm air, but we're exhausting much hotter air. Well, we know it works in here, so let's go to the next test. Okay. This is a tent. Let's do a test to see if we can cool things down in here a little bit. And because it's a tent, and because air can get out quite easily, like look, you can see right in the tent there, any cold air we push in is gonna escape more easily. So it's gonna be more about moving the air around to make it feel cooler in here. But we're still gonna do the temperature test. This is a fairly big tent. You can see we have quite a bit of room here for activities, but let's fire everything up. I got the GoPro on time lapse with the thermometer there, and let's see what happens. Got my drain hoses just out on the grass, so that's good. Power station, not quite fully charged, but close enough. So let's just put this in max mode and we'll let it do its thing. Right now the temperature is 34.2. We're having a bit of a heat wave in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, here in Canada. So you can see with the way we have the hoses set up now, this one is blowing the cold air in. This one is sucking the warm air out. That's why I have them facing different directions. And then out here is exhausting hot air. So we'll just seal this up a little better, even though it's not going to make a world of difference. Now we just wait and see. It's 6:40 p.m. All right, we have 7:23. Let's check it out. Oh no, the wind shook the tent a little bit and knocked over my thermometer here. Oh, we got 23. I should have mentioned it is nice and cool in here. I need two hands to zip this up. If you're nice and low to the ground, that's definitely where the cool air is. And it's warmer up top because hot air rises. Let's just take the thermometer here and see what the air is coming out. There, we got it down to 16.7. If I put it inside, it'll probably get a little cooler. Yeah, look at that, 15.8. So from a temperature standpoint, it's pretty accurate. But what can I say? It works in a tent. So while I was packing up, there's a couple of things I thought that I should clarify, because as I've been using this for the demonstrations, I've been learning the unit a little more as well. So when we go through the various modes, when you go to Eco Plus sleep mode, that is the lowest power setting, because it'll take the compressor and it'll even quiet it down further, consuming less power, because you want to be able to sleep. You don't want to be disturbed. So if you're not worried about the noise level and it using the least amount of power possible, you can just put it in regular eco mode, just like that. The plus symbol and the sleep have disappeared. So this uses a little more power. That's why in my demonstration in the camper, we saw a drop from, closer to 250 watts down to around 150, if I remember correctly. So I just wanted to point that out in case you had that question, because now I understand it better since I've been using it. And when it comes to these drains, you only have to use one if you decide to drain the unit. So if this one's more convenient, just use that side. You don't have to use both. I was just using both because I was being thorough, but it's whatever's more convenient for you. So they're both there. And on the note of drainage, there's actually two modes. If you were to leave this closed, you would be on a drainage free mode where there's internal circulation. But if it started to fill up and couldn't handle it, you're gonna see this little icon here, and that would mean you want to manually drain it and have the hose connected. So it'll flash alternatively when that happens. I just had them hooked up from the get-go when I was using it, because man, has it been hot. Hot for us here in Canada, that is. I know there's places in the US that are much hotter, but I just wanted to point that out. So definitely the manual came in handy. So when packing up, I've also learned you can keep one of the duct adapters on the unit and it'll still fit in the bag. So you can see that fits in there just fine. And that leaves us a little more room in this accessory bag on the side. And one more tip when packing up, you can put the ducts back inside each other like they're shipped, but taking them apart, there's a little bit of a trick, because it wasn't as easy the second time taking them apart for me. Sliding in, no problem, but now to take it out, don't grab these ends because you'll just take the caps off, but you see how that's sticking in there? Actually just grab the duct itself, turn counterclockwise, and it comes apart pretty easy. And this is still lighter than that. You know, it's a beautiful evening. I think we're just gonna wrap up this video right here, and I'll give you my final thoughts. First and foremost, this product does what it says it can do. When it gets colder, during the cooler months here, maybe I'll pull it out to do some winter testing. Now, it's not made for negative temperatures, meaning below freezing, but it is made to take a cool room and make it warmer, or a cold situation and add a little warmth. Maybe you want to warm up your hands after doing some outdoor skating. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but it does have specific use cases, so just keep that in mind and use it within its recommended parameters. I also really like the carry case. I like when carry cases allow you to bring everything, including the accessories that you need, all in one package. So this does that, which makes me happy. Now, there's at least one thing that I don't love about the unit, and that's the remote. It's not that I don't like it, I just don't love it. I find that it times out on the display too quickly. It has a backlight, so they're probably doing that to save battery, but maybe you don't need the backlight on. The light button that's on the remote does not turn off the backlight. That's to turn off the LED light and the panel light on the actual air conditioner heater unit. So I wish that this would stay on even if it was not backlit. I also found the remote's not as responsive as using the app. So the app is a better remote. This is second. And then using the panel on the unit, of course, pretty self-explanatory. So that is that. If this is something you want to check out, whether you're doing overlanding, off-grid camping, or you just want to use it outside on a table, I'm sitting here in my pergola. I could easily plug this in, fire it up, and just blow cold air at me. It's actually designed for that too, and that's not something we put into this video, but you can just have it in the open air, blowing hot or cold, just like a fan would be, except this would control the temperature. So if it is something that you want to check out, I'll leave a link in the video description below. Thank you to Cybertake for sending me their S2 Pro to check out and review and share with you. So if you found this review helpful, hit that like button. Please consider subscribing, and we'll talk to you next time.